to some garage. We're not at the garage, but it's time to go for a little ride. So we've tweaked the old new F350 a little bit, you know, took some stuff off, put some stuff on. So it's been about 3,000, 4,000 miles. I wanted to wait a bit just to make sure, you know, everything was okay before I gave you guys my opinion of our new and improved diesel particulate filter. So let's go for a ride. Some of you guys that own these newer diesels, Ford, Dodge, GM, whatever, you might have noticed there's one major flaw. Besides the lack of noise, you know, it just sounds like a vacuum almost. You know, you don't, I like to hear my motor a little bit. And besides the lack of noise, to me, the major issue is the stink that comes out of that exhaust pipe. That's the smell for me on my truck, and I've noticed it on a couple other of the Ford 6.7s. The smell is horrendous. Whatever you're injecting in there, and you know it's cleaning, it smells like a chemical factory, and made me sick. You know, just smelling that all the time. Every time I got out of the truck, it would just stink. So that was one of my biggest annoyances with it. And the other one was the noise. You know, it sounds like it's so choked, so restricted, and we just had to rip that stuff off. And the title of this video is how to avoid your warranty, and that's exactly what I did. Because, and everybody says, oh, you got to find the right Ford dealership that'll work on the trucks, and I think that's a crock. You either got to be buddies with them, or you know, these guys are just paying for the work. They're not getting it warranted. But in any case, it is what it is. So I've had a couple problems. If you watched, well, I posted a video about this a couple months ago, and if you watched that, you've seen some of my problems. But I really don't care about the warranty because I don't take it. I can't stand the dealerships. I'm sure there's some good ones out there, but to me, you know, a real mechanic, you're not really working at the dealership. And I'm not trying to be offensive to any of the dealer mechanics. I understand there's a need, and you guys are doing your job. I understand that, but I don't like the way they put cars together. I don't like the way that you get a car back from them. Usually there's missing clips. I'm sure there's missing bolts if you really look around. They don't care like these, you know, owner operator mechanics. These guys that, you know, it's a couple man shop, and they really take pride in their work and maintaining their reputation for the most part. So to me, avoiding the warranty doesn't matter to me. I'm not a mechanic at all, but there's plenty of information online, and with a few simple tools, I feel like anything's possible. So that's that about the warranty. You guys do what you want, but we had to take care of the problem. So this whole thing started a few months ago. I kept getting the check engine light. It would come and go, and it was for a reductant level sensor, so something to do with the DEF. I'm assuming the sensor in the tank, so you know how much fluid you have in there. And if you guys have ever messed with this DEF fluid, you'll notice that when it dries up, it becomes like a salt crystal. You know, it gets hard as a rock. So when you run your tank down, all that stuff is drying out. It's crystallizing. Your injector, you know, I've heard horror stories. You know, a $5,000, $10,000 repair bill. So as far as I'm concerned, a $2,000 kit that eliminates all these issues is one of the best things you can do. So after I did that, say goodbye to the check engine light, I've never had an issue since. Granted, only a couple thousand miles, but it completely changed the truck. It's much peppier. It's still, I didn't notice, you know, they say that you can get from like a 200 horsepower increase. I didn't really notice that much. And, you know, these trucks are already powerful as it is, so how much do you really need in a pickup truck? You got no weight in the back, so all it wants to do is spin the tires, especially when it's wet out. But it was like that before too, so I can't complain. So I decided to go with a 5-inch straight pipe, and a lot of guys say you need a muffler, but honestly, if you keep your foot out of it, it's really not loud at all. It has a nice tone, nice rumble at low RPM. You know it's there, but you know when you get up, you know, past 2,000 and really lay into it, it screams at you. So let's see what you guys think. About these transes, I've heard a lot of bad things about them, and I noticed with the tune on the transmission, it definitely changes it. It shifts good, it shifts smooth, it shifts a little harder, but sometimes it's just stupid. Sometimes it'll downshift and thud, you know, when you're not even on the brake, on the gas. I'm not sure if that's the whole, you know, adaptive learning system of the transmission. Is it the tuning? I really don't know. It doesn't happen enough where I think it's a major issue, but it happens. So to me, something's not right. But everybody knows diesels and automatic transmissions don't really go too well together. But we'll see how this one lasts. So, let me give you a quick rundown of everything we put on here to make it run way more efficiently. So for starters, we have the, you know, you can really put whatever intake you want on. I really like this one. It's the AFE, Magnum Force, whatever. They're all the same. So cold air, really picking up hot air, but cold air intake. And as you can see there, we're missing this big honker, which I call the watered down device. So if you remember the old cars in the 70s, 80s, they had the air pumps, which, you know, you're pumping air into your exhaust to dilute the emissions. So does that really make sense? I don't think so. So what this did was the EGR cooler, it pumps exhaust back into the intake. So if anybody can tell me that that's actually good for an engine, I'd love to hear them. You know, I'm open to opinions, so if you guys have some proof, please leave it in the comments. I really am interested on this subject, because as you guys know, it's a diesel, it makes soot, and soot in the engine, I have a rough time with that, going back through in the intake and everything. But like I said, you guys let me know. I don't know much about these. So what it is, this is the GDP kit, so it's just a plate that covers where the EGR cooler sits, and then another cover, if you can see down there where the probe is, and that cover is not fun. It's not really hard to get it off. The bolts, you got to have small hands to get in there, or just get creative with extensions and stuff, swivels. But we broke a bolt on there, like everybody says they do, and It was not fun getting the drill in there and drilling it out and tapping it, but we did it and I've had no issues. So that's pretty much all we've done under the hood. If you guys saw our last video about this 6.7, you noticed I explained that I had a Sinister diesel, I think this is the cold side, charge pipe, and that hit the power steering reservoir, so I actually had to like free float it around. Terrible. I sent it back. I could not believe the fitment just did not fit nicely. So for now we have a factory one that's not torn. My old one tore, just exploded here, so I'm sure that'll happen again. We'll put a nice one on, we'll get rid of this old flapper and go from there. But for now, that's all we got. That's pretty much all we did under the hood. So let's go, let's check out underneath. We actually got rid of that big old missile silo. Don't tell Uncle Sam, but it's gone. So this is just a 5-inch DPF filter upgrade. So we get a better flow out of it, a lot better sound out of it, and it smokes a little bit, but it's good for the environment.
Better than that urea stuff.
Let's walk over and let's see what we actually did to manipulate the computer on this thing. So you're not going to be able to really see the unit, but we have an EZlink in here, and that actually plugs right into the OBD2 port, and it's really simple to use. Sorry, I love these dingers. And so you plug that in, you give them your VIN number, so that computer is already paired with your VIN. You download the app on your phone, EZlink Auto Agent, all the tunes come up immediately. I have GDP tuning. I'm very happy with them. Seems like their customer support's phenomenal, and it seems like they're a Ford company, unlike a lot of these guys who are doing everything. And I know GDP does Chevy stuff too, but I'm happy with them and I really can't complain. So that's pretty much the setup. EZlink, GDP, 5-inch exhaust, cold air intake, EGR delete from GDP, and we also have a little hidden gem under here. If you can see it,
it's right there on the left.
Right here is a 5-position shift on the fly. So from GDP, you get a bunch of options of tunes, and we are on the 5-position tune 0 to 200 horsepower right now. I don't really think it goes up to 200 horsepower. Maybe with other modifications, lift pump, you know, better fuel, you might get that, but it's such an improvement from what it was. You know, I really couldn't be happier, and it really doesn't bother me that I avoided the warranty, because the way these trucks come, it's just so restricted, so choked. It cannot be good for an engine. So if you guys are thinking about doing this, you know, I understand if you're at the mercy of the dealer, always working on your truck, and I understand, you know, you want your warranty stuff fixed for free. I get that. But if you're thinking about doing it and, you know, you can't make the decision, hopefully this video helps you out. I'm really happy with it. I will, if I ever buy a new truck again, it's the first thing I'm going to do. So tune in next week and we'll get working on that Jeep. One of them, I don't know which one, but we'll work on something.